I think that Tornado, I just wanted somebody that represented chaos and represented force.
We have to leave. They'll come and kill us.
Tornado, listen to your father. Defenses attack. I remember watching Slow West and now seeing this. And for me, I'm curious, why do you like to explore isolation and this kind of unexpected connection that your characters have? Because this is kind of the same that happens in Tornado.
It is absolutely. I was just talking about this actually, that maybe the idea of the outsider, and interests me, and a lot of it's more obvious in the Western because I think the Western has a history of outsiders and loners and but I think that British period drama kind of doesn't, it's always been about society or kings and queens and or the streets of London and paupers and so I just wondered why this sector of people being ignored, which are kind of like the outsiders and like
Yeah.
the um and it might be a personal thing when I'm writing the script because I've always felt like perhaps I've never fitted into a group, and I like to sort of jump around, but not be sort of pigeonholed in any way. So and sort of be drawn in real life to people that are slightly more outsiders in terms of musicians and artists
Yeah.
and I think that comes into it so that with Tornado the troupe is like a Bergman-esque group of people that don't fit in terms of artists, and then I think that the gang of bandits are a group of people that um, don't fit in, even though they're not evil.
Mhm.
They're the baddies, but they're just people trying to survive, really. And the survival links both Slow West and
But also, it's a beautiful metaphor that you use the theme of a tornado, because what it means in the movie, because we don't see like a disaster.
no,
It's the use of the name. I don't want to spoil anything, but it's the use of the name of the character for a reason. Why using a tornado as a metaphor, as a reference for name to characters?
yeah. I mean, Fujin, her dad, I think means wind as well, actually. But so I thought for a start, I thought about making the film having weather as a character from the film anyway, because when you watch Kurosawa films, weather is such a big thing, and I think it's missing sometimes in a lot of modern cinemas. Perhaps weather isn't sort of used as much.
Yeah.
And then I think that Tornado, I just wanted somebody that represented chaos and represented force
I agree.
and destruction. And in actual fact, when I wrote the script, she goes sort of round the
But
lake.
it's evolving. It's evolving. It's
Revolving.
growing.
Exactly.
It's evolving. It's evolving. While we see the first time the character, and then at the end, it's just a
Yeah.
huge, I don't know, Type 5 tornado.
Yeah, exactly. So that was the other reason. I mean, there's an even more basic reason was that when I tried to put Slow West into some cinemas, the
Mhm.
cinemas said we can't show a film with slow in the title. So I thought I'm gonna make the fastest title I can think of.
You went opposite. Slow west, now tornado. You changed speed super fast. I like that. Why is so important to tell stories about outsiders? Because now we live in a political world where what immigration, while we see what's going on, not just in United States, but like everywhere that we're
Yeah,
talking about, we feel threatened about immigrants or
yeah.
outsiders. I'm immigrant, and now we have politics in America. We have politics in major countries. Why is so important to tell stories about outsiders?
I think that the point of Slow West, one of the seeds of Slow West was when I got to know America and read about America in 1860s, this was a land of immigrants,
Mhm.
and most American Westerns were American people, in it, and I was thinking that, but when you read about where, the life in the West, it was Irish sheep farmers, German cowboys, Scandinavian shopkeepers, and African people out there from the war, fighting in wars and from the trades there. And just so that was the point of maybe making a Western that was full of the idea of immigrants. And, I wanted to say the same with Tornado, that Britain was probably, because Britain has the same sort of feeling towards immigrants in certain
Yeah,
elements of the press that American does, and elements of politics. And people are using this fear of immigration to, um, fight inequality. And it's awful.
yeah.
Um, so I just wanted to say Britain, look, Britain was a land where not that long ago there was French and could be a Japanese person and African and and let's make this land full of immigrants because it's something. I live in an area of London which is maximum immigration, and it's one of the great pleasures of living here.
You work with one of my favorite actors, is Tim Roth.
Yes.
And how special, because I feel that he has worked less in the past years, and that
Yeah.
hurts me. But you give it one of those characters that he enjoy apparently doing. It kind of the borderline of the bad guy, but with a purpose.
Yes.
And how is working with Tim Roth? Because I don't think that he goes bad. I just think that he can give you some perspective and purpose to any character.
Absolutely. That was great. I mean, obviously I was a big fan of Tim Roth, and I didn't actually think I would get him because he's not the lead of this. So, you would have to be generous to come in and play a secondary part. But he did. And then as soon as we talked about the character, I knew he was the right person because he never talked about him being a nasty man. He really, we talked about him maybe Cokie being the baddie in her head, and Tim Roth being the goodie in a way, because he's got this family of his troop that he's just trying to look after, and the money goes, and that's a bad situation for them. So he played it really gently, which I absolutely loved because it just takes away from that the sort of cliched baddie.
Exactly.
And then you get these small moments where he exploded, which, I didn't direct, I didn't, I just let him decide whether this was a moment that he was going to explode or this was a moment he was going to play really quiet, and um, because he's intuitively, once he knows the character and he's read the script, he's a great actor, he's intuitive. So I just did not have to direct him at all.
John, thank you so much for your time.
All
Congratulations.
right.
I really enjoy the film.
Thank you very much. Great to talk to you.
And thank you for giving us Low West. It's one of my favorite Western that
Brilliant.
I've seen
Thank
in
you
the
very
past
much.
20 years.
Amazing. Thank you.